democracy? It is a system in which the government is being elected by the people. And to determine the state of democracy across the world, the Democracy Index is being released every year. So hello everyone, a warm welcome to all of you in today's daily current affairs session of EduTap, and I believe that all of you are healthy and preparing well for our upcoming SEBI Grade A prelims exam. So when we talk about these exams, then current affairs plays a very important part, and that is why I am back with a very interesting session in which we will be discussing the Democracy Index 2021. So before beginning the session, if you are new to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us. And you can also join our Telegram channel to get the access to the PDF of the sessions. To join the Telegram channel, kindly click on the link given in the description below. So let's move on to the session. Let's get started. So here when we talk about this particular report, it has been titled as the Democracy Index, the China Challenge, Should the West Be Worried? So basically this is the report which tells us about the state of democracy across the world. So when we talk about this index is being released every year by Economist Intelligence Unit, and this organization is releasing this index since year 2006. So when we talk about this index basically provides the snapshot of the state of democracy worldwide in 165 independent states and 2 territories. So basically this report states that democracy is in deep trouble across the world. And why so? We are going to find out this in our upcoming slide. So when we talk about the framework of this particular index, here you can see that this index is basically based on 60 indicators which are grouped into 5 different categories. So what exactly these categories are? These are electoral process and pluralism, civil liberties, functioning of the government, political participation, and political culture. So basically all these countries and territories are given a score on a scale of 0 to 10 in all these 5 categories, and an average is being calculated to come up with a average score of each particular country. Okay, now when we talk about this particular rank of the countries, then these ranks are being, the countries are being ranked on the basis of these particular scores only. So after the ranking, each country is being grouped into 4 types of different regimes, which stands for full democracies, flawed democracies, hybrid regimes, as well as authoritarian regimes. So now, whenever we discuss any reports and indices, we always tell you that very important part is the rankings. And whenever you are covering the rankings, you are required to cover the top performing nation, the worst performing nation, and the most important, that is the India's rank. So when we talk about the Democracy Index 2021, the top 5 countries are Norway, New Zealand, Finland, Sweden, and Iceland. So one of the very most important observation from here is that the Nordic countries are dominating the top 5 positions of the Democracy Index 2021. As Norway has topped this index with a score of 9.75. And now when we talk about the bottom 5 countries of the Democracy Index 2021, here you can see the whole list. And this particular list has been surprisingly, Afghanistan has replaced the North Korea as the bottom of the list with the 167th position with a score of 0.32. So basically in the last edition it was North Korea which was at the bottom of the list, but this year as Taliban has taken over the Afghanistan, so Afghanistan has been placed at the bottom of the list with a score of 0.32. So now let's move on to the very important point that you are required to remember from this particular index, that is India's rank. So when we talk about the performance of India in the Democracy Index 2021, here you will see that India has been ranked 46th with a score of 6.91, and it has been placed under the flawed democracy regime. And you will be surprised to listen that United States of America has also been placed as a nation under the flawed democracy regime. Okay, so I think that these important rankings are very much clear to all of you, and now we are moving towards the important findings of this particular index. So basically, as I have already told you, that this report states that the democracy is in a deep trouble across the world. And why exactly this report says so? The reason behind that is the average global score has fallen from 5.37 in 2020 to 5.28 in 2021, which is also the lowest in the index history. Okay, and that is the reason that democracy has experienced its biggest annual decline since year 2010, when the global financial crash led to major setbacks. And apart from that, why exactly there is a decline in the score? The reason behind that is due to the various lockdowns and the COVID containment measures which are being taken by the countries across the world has led to this decline in the democratization all over the world. And that's why this report states that democratization has suffered more reversals in 2021, with the percentage of people living in a democracy falling to well below 50%, and that was the reason that democracy all over the world is in deep trouble. So when we talk about the top ranked region, then it was North America which has remained the top ranked region. And guys, when I talk about the average score in Asia, then it has just fell from 5.62 to 5.46 as per the Democracy Index 2021. So these were the important key findings from the Democracy Index 2021. And now let's move on to the very first practice question. But before that, I would like to tell you some other important data, that people who live in a full democracy is 6% all over the world. And when we talk about the people who live in a flawed democracy, it is 39%, and the people under the authoritarian rule stands at 37%. So this was also important that you are required to remember from the exam point of view. And now let's move on to the practice question 1 of our today's session. And this question is basically in relation with the Democracy Index 2021. And the demand of the question is that you are required to identify the incorrect statements in relation with the Democracy Index 2021. So the very first statement says that it has been released by Economist Intelligence Unit, which is absolutely correct. The second statement says it tells us about the state of democracy worldwide in 165 independent states and the union territories. The third statement says it has been topped by Finland, while Afghanistan was at the bottom of the index. See, here you can see one of the dimensions on which the question has been asked, that is the top ranking and the worst performing country. So when we talk about the top ranked country, it was not Finland, instead it was Norway. And that is the reason that the statement C is incorrect, and that is going to be the right answer for this practice question. So I believe that this question is very much clear to all of you. And now let's move on to the next question. So guys, the next question is a googly question, and today the googly question is based on a very important initiative which was being launched recently, that is NEET 3.0. In this question, you are required to identify the correct statement in relation with the NEET initiative, and kindly answer this question in the comment section below. Now moving on to the homework question from the previous session. So yesterday I have asked a question in relation with the exports of the agricultural and processed food products through APEDA, which stands for Agricultural Products Export Development Authority, which has recently celebrated its 36th foundation day. And guys, when we talk about these exports of the agricultural and processed food, then it has basically increased from USD 9 billion in 2000 to 2001 to 20.67 billion US dollars in 2020-2021. So that was the question, and the star performers from our today's session are Janani, Isha as well as Yukti. So congratulations guys, and if you also want your name to be mentioned here, then you are required to answer the googly question and the homework question in the comment section below. And the homework question for our today's session is here on your screen. So basically in this particular question, you are required to tell me the name of the scheme. You are required to identify the name of the scheme which has been recently launched to provide welfare and rehabilitation to the transgender community and the people who are engaged in the act of begging. So basically, whether it is Teerth, Smile, Samvedna, Bheem or Suraksha, kindly answer the question in the comment section below. So guys, that was all from the today's session, and I really believe that today's session was useful and fruitful to all of you. If you are having any queries, you can drop us your mail at hello@edutap.co.in, and you can also call us at 814-620-7241. And if you are having any suggestions, then you can also mail us or you can comment in the comment section below. So guys, thank you for joining us. Wish you all happy learning.